The Mamluks had largely governed Egypt for centuries as an independent nation and even under Ottoman control. This was a military caste made up of slaves brought in from the Caucasus, Balkans and the likes, so the ruling elite of Egypt was a different ethnicity to the larger Arab population. But they were defeated by Napoleon when he invaded Egypt. However, when he left behind a power vacuum. Control was then fought over between the Mamluks, Turkish governors sent by the Ottomans, and Muhammad Ali, a leader of Albanian troops that the Ottomans sent to fight the French. Allegiances often switched sides, but Muhammad Ali eventually won the support of the people and was appointed governor of Egypt by the Ottomans in 1805. However, Cairo was in a state of chaos and he had very little control outside the city, as troops conducted raids and attacks. Plus, his chief opposition came from two Mamluk leaders, Al-Alfi and Al-Badisi, who led separate armies as well. So in 1805, to break the Mamluk forces, he wrote to them saying that he would cut the dam near Cairo, thus depriving the Mamluks to the north of water. Plus, Muhammad Ali also told the Mamluks that most of his soldiers would be present when the dam was cut. This tricked the Mamluks into believing that Cairo would be poorly defended, when in fact the dam was cut the night before. So the Mamluks went ahead with the attack and entered the city. But once inside the city limits, they were fired upon from houses and the citadel, and were trapped inside the city gates and massacred. Many did manage to escape, but now they sought peace. For instance, Al-Alfi just wanted control over the southern provinces in return for pledging loyalty. But this was rejected, so Al-Alfi tried to get the Ottomans to reinstate the Mamluks to power, promising to pay a great deal of money. The Ottomans initially agreed and sent troops to aid them, but the Mamluks couldn't raise the funds, and Muhammad Ali, with the support of religious scholars, petitioned the Ottomans to keep him in power and raised even more money. And in quick succession, Al-Badisi and Al-Alfi died, causing the Mamluk forces to break down in mutiny. Meanwhile, after the Battle of Austerlitz, Selim III decided to align the Ottoman Empire with Napoleon, causing the outbreak of wars with Russia and Britain. And in March 1807, after the Dardanelles campaign failed, the British sent thousands of troops to occupy Alexandria. However, the British had been in communication with Al-Alfi and hoped to align with him, but they only heard of his death when they arrived. Nevertheless, they moved into Rosetta, but they were ambushed and retreated. They tried again with over 2,000 men and bombarded the town, but the city held out, and this invasion encouraged many of Muhammad Ali's former rivals to join his side. And with their support, he crushed the British at Al-Hamid in April 1807. The British then retreated from Egypt in September, and Muhammad Ali finally offered the Mamluk leaders control of provinces like Fayoum in exchange for peace. Intermittent violence did, however, continue for the next couple of years, but for the most part, Muhammad Ali was successful in securing his role. For instance, in early 1811, his rule was so secure that he prepared to launch an expedition against the Wahhabis in Arabia. And then he formulated a plan to finally rid himself of the threat to his rule from the Mamluks. He invited all of the leaders to a parade, honouring the future expedition against the Wahhabis in Arabia. But when the Mamluks entered along a narrow passageway, gates at either side were shut, and soldiers fired upon them from the walls above, killing the 3,000 that attended. This was followed by anti-Mamluk riots across the country, and although many fled south into Sudan, Muhammad Ali would invade Sudan in order to root them out in 1820. So Muhammad Ali had taken control of Egypt, and he would modernize the country and go to war against the Wahhabis, Sudanese Greeks, and eventually the Ottomans. And this latter war ensured that his dynasty would rule Egypt until the mid-20th century.